Hi everyone, welcome to week 14. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving break and you are ready to power through your last couple of weeks of the semester. So good luck to you in this class and all of your other courses as we tie things up. So this week we'll be watching a film called Adopted for the Life of Me, which was produced by a woman named Jean Strauss. She's been making documentary films in the adoption world for a number of decades and always been an advocate for within the adoption movement. So her film focuses on adult adoptees who are in search of information about their birth families. And many of these people in this film I know quite well, and I know from experience that it is not easy to get that information without an open birth record and having your original birth certificate. So when these folks were born, like myself, we were issued a birth certificate that is completely fabricated. So the information of our birth parents are not on there. Our given names when we were born are not on there, but instead replaced with the people who adopted us and by a name that we were given by those folks when we were adopted. So in essence, all of our authentic selves are removed and replaced with a completely different identity, which for those of you who are not adopted might not think is a big deal, but as we've learned through the course of the semester, for adopted people, it's all about identity. And so even your birth certificate is a complete fabrication. And for some people, dates of birth are even fabricated, times of birth, weight, etc. Even all of that can be removed on a birth certificate. So essentially, it is a removal of self. So this ties in with our other reading, which talks about what OBCs are. Open birth certificates or open birth records for adoptees are actually not available still in the year 2015, except for 11 states in the U.S. So the remaining states in the United States have not opened birth records or made the original birth certificates available to adoptees still. So even in the 11 states, not all birth certificates are fully open. So it can be a partial opening of birth records depending on the year you were born. So depending on the state, it can fall between maybe 1945 to 1990. They vary, and the opening of them vary by date, but it is not there are only a couple of states in the United States that have full access to birth certificates. So legislatively, there is a big movement on to change this so that adult adoptees can access their histories, one, before their birth parents die, and two, before they die. So something to think about when you're, I don't know, critically analyzing the work ahead. So we will then talk about open adoptions, which has become the alternative to closed adoptions in the United States. So these are typically private adoptions for the most part, sort of the Juno look at type and form of adoption. So we moved away from closed adoptions, like the girls who went away era, about 15 years ago. We decided that open adoptions were a better alternative, and we are just now coming out with seeing the results of the successes of those adoptions as open adoptees start to age and are in their late teens to early 20s. And what we found is not necessarily so great. First of all, it's important to understand that open adoptions have no legislative or legal mandate to make and keep them open. So birth mothers and fathers and families are not necessarily allowed access to their children for any mandated amount of time. So we're reading a couple of these blogs, what open adoption looks like for a lot of the birth parents who are very young and who have been promised access to their children, which was part of the reason why they did an open adoption in the first place. So we're going to be looking at the theme of openness and exploring that through open adoption and through opening of birth records. So I hope that made sense, and I hope you'll have a great week. Please let me know if you have any questions.